Breema is the most practical way that I've seen in my life for discovering and experiencing and understanding firsthand what are the laws that the whole universe is functioning according to. Not in a conceptual way, not in a way where we have to think and theorize about them, but where you can experience them. And then in order to live the way that we wish to live and have our lives have a positive effect on ourselves and other people, a harmonious effect, we manage ourselves the same way as those laws are functioning. So we function in harmony with the universal laws. Science tries to discover them, religion tries to teach them to us, but nobody knows how to give us an experiential understanding. And this is where Breema is amazing. We work with the body according to those laws till they become our natural way of thinking, moving, and feeling. Everything about Breema, we make it our own direct experience and understanding by working with the principles. So there's nothing that has to be taken as a belief or an assumption. But in the end, we are able to guide ourselves according to our simple, yet very practical understanding. Over time, by practicing these very particular and wonderful movement sequences that we call Breema treatments, we discover the simple laws that the universe operates according to. Things that we don't see in our ordinary daily life. So, for example, the principle of mutual support. We learn that it's to our direct benefit to do things in a way that's most supportive of other people. Breema teaches us how to be with other people, how to help other people without sacrificing anything of our own benefit. So there's always mutual support, mutual benefit. We learn in the most practical way to treat another human being the way that we wish to be treated ourselves. In fact, we treat the recipient, the person receiving Breema from us, as though they're an extension of ourself. I relate to her body as part of my own body. And therefore, everything I do can be in total harmony with it. Totally safe, totally respectful, totally nurturing and supportive. Breema guides us to discover our own essential nature. As we discover Breema and the principles that it's based on and its way of moving, of interacting, we find out it's the most natural way for us to be. So the feeling of studying Breema is constantly feeling like, oh, I've always known this my whole life, but I never really recognized it. So as the philosophy and the principles and the bodywork and the Self-Breema exercises grow, and become more and more natural and meaningful for us, we feel like we're discovering a long-lost friend. Ourself, in fact. The relationship between human beings that Breema supports and nurtures is one of complete trust, complete acceptance, mutual benefit. Breema never asks either the practitioner or the recipient to be uncomfortable. It never asks us to move in a way that isn't totally natural and comfortable for us. And one wonderful thing about Breema is that anyone who wishes to study it, or even just to receive Breema bodywork, can start wherever they happen to be. So I don't need to be flexible. I don't need any particular starting point. However I am, there's a way to enter and work without strain, without danger of injuring myself or of hurting another person. Breema feels as wonderful to give as to receive. When you practice Breema, you never get tired. You never get physically exhausted. Because the principles upon which these movements and postures and physical interactions are based are ones that actually give us energy rather than drain energy. So when I do a Breema treatment and I finish, I have more energy than when I started. There's no transference, so any imbalance that the recipient might have, physically, mentally, or emotionally, there's no possibility that I pick that up, and that becomes my problem. So because of that, and because the touch and movement of Breema is always without force, the recipient is never afraid of me. They never become more tense, but always less. Less tense, more relaxed, more natural, as do I, as the practitioner. In fact, Breema is pure pleasure to give and to receive, but not the kind of pleasure that you are sorry for later. So there's no late payment. Each movement of Breema, each moment of Breema gives its reward in the moment. So I don't do this stretch, for example, because it might help her in an hour or in 5 minutes or next week, but because in this very moment it gives something that we both totally need and appreciate. Breema puts us in touch with our natural well-wishing for other people. I find, as does everyone that practices Breema, that when you give somebody a Breema treatment, you effortlessly feel that you really like them. This creates a natural connection, a natural bond, a natural affinity between people. So I might be, just by chance, I might be a very critical or closed-minded person, but when I practice Breema, I discover my natural reservoir of well-wishing for myself, for other people, and for all of life. And that's not something I have to try or force myself to do. It's the most natural thing in the world. Every Breema treatment ends with this simple movement, which is a physical way of expressing my gratitude and thanks to the recipient.